Does a straw have one hole, or two? What do you think? It does not have a hole. It is a hole. There's one hole that goes all the way through, just like between your ears. One hole, two ends. One hole, because topology. 1. Because everything in our non-theoretical world is three-dimensional. Even a piece of paper has a thickness. So, any argument about a straw having holes on both ends extends to *and thing having two sides. Like a piece of paper. That is to say, if a straw has a hole on both ends, then a hole-punched piece of paper does as well. The ends are just a lot closer together. Post-takeaway. People are straws. Same as your gastrointestinal tract. One tract, two holes. How many holes does a donut have? Same thing. One hole with two entrances. A proper straw doesn't have any holes because it's a tube. It does not have a hole. It is a hole. It's one hole because if you flatten it to like a ring you can see it's just one hole. A straw typically has one hole, which is the small opening on the top of the straw that allows liquid to pass through. This opening is also known as the sipping end of the straw. However, some straws may have two holes. For example, some straws designed for use with thicker liquids, such as smoothies or milkshakes, may have a second hole on the bottom of the straw to allow more air to enter and make it easier to suck up the thicker liquid. Additionally, some straws have a second hole on the top of the straw. This hole is used to blow the liquid out of the straw or for decoration purposes. Neither. It has none. It has infinitely many. It has no holes. It only has ends. A hole is when it is surrounded in the same dimensional angle by the item. An end is when the entire section is open and exposed. Hence, a straw has no holes. In a sense, we're all straws. Food, drink goes in one end and comes out the other. So if your answer to the straw question is one hole, you're basically saying that your mouth and your butthole are the same thing. The whole straw is a hole. This question is going to haunt me. Nope, there is no hole. Just an infinite flat surface. If the ID of a straw is larger than the OD, then it is not a straw. A straw doesn't have any holes. No holes. If you take a paper and tape it end to end to create a cylinder, the paper doesn't have any holes. Isn't it mathematically a rectangle curved 360 degrees? I know geometrically gravity is moving in a straight line along curved spacetime. But I'm not too sure what mathematicians believe a hollowed-out cylinder is. Depends on your definition of a hole. Technically, straws are just a sheet of plastic rolled into a tube and joined at a seam. Therefore, technically the straw is the tube itself and not the hole inside the tube. Therefore, technically, straws have zero holes unless you damage them. Like, think about it, if I build a cylinder out of wood, is that air inside of the cylinder part of the wood? No, it is just air, only the cylinder is wood, therefore there is no hole in the wooden cylinder. Because the wooden cylinder itself is the single solid object. Therefore the straw is only the plastic and the plastic contains zero holes. Just because we are using the enclosed space to our advantage to accomplish our goals does not mean that that enclosed space is actually a hole in the overall structure. It is simply a sort of causeway created due to the shape of the straw. You could even make a comparison to net theory. Technically, a fishing net contains no holes unless you cut one of the links, because the fishing net is the intertwining of the rope or nylon or whatever it is. The air in between is nothing more than free space in the design of the object, but is not actually A hole in the object because a hole implies creating some sort of opening in an existing product. Not an opening just left in an existing product's design. 2. A cylinder has two circles that can have area. It has two apertures and one hole. WTF kind of question is this? I don't want to think about it, and here I am. Thinking about it. Face with rolling eyes. Consider if you dig what is considered a hole. The coffin you placed is in a hole. Animals that burrow and nest underground are in holes. Is there a scientific definition for how a hole is interpreted? Maybe not infinite, but multiple answers. Some holes have bottoms. Did you get this from Snake Discovery? Did you know your gastrointestinal system is basically one long, wet, squishy, curvy straw? The two sides of the straw are your mouth and your bowl. The human centipede is also a straw. Does a ring have one or two holes? Does a lampshade have one or two holes? Does a hose have one or two holes? Does a metal fence post have one or two holes? Does length or material have any bearing on the answer to this question? I am on the one-hole side based on construction experience, i.e., drilling a hole. Even if the hole is drilled from both ends, the result is referred to as a hole. Straws are holes. Portable holes. It has all the characteristics of a hole.